Padua, and she will present us about competitiveness of enterprises and local SMEs, systems, and sustainable circular business models. So, Eleonora, the floor is yours. Let's try again with screen sharing.
Thank you very much. I'm very delighted to be here and to share my knowledge with the audience about circular economy and business model. I'm going to share my screen. Let's hope it works now. If there is any problem, please inform me.
Perfect.
I think it's perfect. So the time that we will have together is to introduce you to the concept of circular economy and how firms may use sustainability in a way to compete differently. And we will more precisely go into the circular business model concept, with the idea of describe how firm may include environmental sustainability into their strategies, also to produce positive impact, not only from a profit point of view, but also from an environmental point of view. So I will start with an example that refers to a very key concept in the what we can call linear economy, which is the planned obsolescence. So at the beginning of last century, there was a consortium that was a private secret consortium that has been also described by books and videos and movies related with what is called the light bulb conspiracy. The idea was that the company that were producing the bulb, so the lamps that you can see also in the picture, agreed together to give to this product a limited, life cycle, lifetime, which was 1,000 hours. So the idea was that the product could have a limited, time in terms of providing performance, and this would create a broken product at some point in time, and so the customers were forced, let's say, to ask for another product. So the idea was that companies were in a sense defining the time in which the product could last to support self-reinforcing demand mechanism. This was, of course, not a positive strategy, and also from an environmental point of view, but give input on what we can now call the linear economy. Now I put here a cover of a book that describe what I'm trying to introduce, made to break. The idea of the linear economy is the mechanism through which, in a capitalistic way, product will become more innovative, new product will substitute the new one, but also that the product will last for a specific just amount of time, and that based on that new demand will rise. So in not necessarily with the kind of negative approach, but many companies were using and are still using today innovation as a way to produce always new product. But for many years in the economic dimension, there were not considered the social and environmental consequences of those strategies. So the idea is that technological evolution would drive product with better quality and product that were no more satisfactory from the features that were provided, was simply put in a dump, where throw it away without any analysis on the environmental cost. So there were economic externalities, but also environmental externalities that what we can now call the linear economy was not absolutely considered. And in general, the idea was that the companies were pushing the demand and customers were not asking a specific product, but in general were more passive in the idea of accepting what was the input and the product that the companies the firms were offering into the market. And this picture is particularly evident because it refers to computers, so to a very technological advanced product that may be not so useful as soon as new technologies arise. So the linear economy, so the framework in which for years, for centuries, mainly our economy has developed, did not consider so specifically the environmental consequences of the strategic behavior and the use of resources. Of course, this has some problems, and we saw now that there is the need to adopt a new perspective, and this perspective is specifically related to the fact that in addition to the attention to the economic dimension of the activities of the firm activity, we have to include a new perspective that take into account also the environmental but also social consequences of the activities of the firm, the production and use of resources. I provide you another cover of another book which is particularly famous in this line of reasoning, which is Cradle to Cradle: Remaking the Way We Make Things, that suggests by two very important consultants that describe the idea that product and better the use of resources should be considered in a way that resources should be kept in use and not necessarily thrown away where they are used through the product. So the idea is, and we are moving into the approach concerning the circular economy framework, that the resources should be considered not only in a limited amount of time, but we have to think differently in the fact that resources should be kept in use as much as possible, in an idea that is not only the time of a circular product have to be considered, but also, which is described in the subtitle of this book, remaking the way we make. So we think differently how we design the product, but also how the product, as soon as its life is finished, has to be reconsidered and not as a bundle of resources that should be in a way exploited again and again and again. So in this perspective, it's important to see the fact that customers, so us as users of product, are important, and there is the need to involve customers, because without customers that are the one that have the product in their hand, it's not possible to exploit in a very broader approach the resources, and we cannot generate also positive consequences into the environment. There is also another important issue that I want to stress, is the fact that the environment start to be considered not just a constraint, so costs that have to be bared or to be excluded by companies, but instead that sustainability and environmental sustainability integrated into the business dimension can be also an opportunity to support innovation in a very different dimension. So this is another important issue that we have to take into account talking about sustainability. So I want to start talking about the circular economy framework as a new way through which we should use resources, design the product, use the product, and then use the resources at the end by using this very famous picture that has been provided by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is one of the most important organizations worldwide that is devoted and is focused on developing knowledge and support companies and the society for circular economy development. This is what is called the butterfly. So in the middle, you can see that there are on the top, there are some resources that enter into the process. Then the products start to become produced. So from inputs, there are part manufactured that create then product. This product also through services, for instance, retail, goes into the hands of the users that will be our hands, so as customers. Traditionally, the linear economy says that from top, the product goes down and then the resource goes and become waste. In a circular economy, instead, the circle should start. So we have two sides here. So the green one is the one that describes the natural resources. So from a circular economy point of view, the attention is on the fact that we have to use resources that are biodegradable or they are bio-based. And those bio-based material have to be reused as much as possible. If they're not, they cannot be reused at the consumer level. That can be generated additional input, or can be, for instance, generate energy. I have not too much time to go in detail, but the idea is that we should consider the fact that materials should be bio-based and should be reconsidered and regenerated. On the other hand, which is the hardest part and the part in which companies are involved in addition to customer, is the blue one. So the idea of this picture and the butterfly says that the other wing is connected to the fact that the product should not become waste. And how can we do this? There are many different options. So one, and this leads to what we will call also later circular business model, is, for instance, to let this product to be used again and again. So sharing with others, with friends, with peers, putting in the second-hand market. But then the product could be modified, there could be remanufactured, could be maintenance here. So the product could last longer. And so the idea is that any of the circle, at the end of the different circles that become important in a way to let all the resources and product still be used. The very last final option is the recycling process. So the idea is that keep the resources in use as much as possible. So according to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, how can we think differently the way we design the product, we use the product, we consume the product, and we exchange product? There are, according to the circular economy framework, there are basically three principles that have to be considered that I partially already mentioned. So the first one is design out of waste and pollution. It means that the starting point, even if it's a circle, is to design product in order to reduce at the end of the product life cycle the waste, or try to use the resources that comes out from the waste management through recycling in a way that can be reused and reconsidered again and again and do not become waste anymore. So the design part is specifically important. So circular economy means that the product are circular by design. So from a starting point of view, the attention should be to consider which kind of resources to use. So more bio-based, organic, not coming from, fossil fuel, for instance, but at the same time should be considered in a way that the product could last longer. Connection with that, there the second principle that refers to the fact that products should be and materials should be kept in use as much as possible. So try to find solution, economic, social, and environmental solution that want to reduce waste. And we'll see the example later talking about business model. And then generate a natural system, which means that all the resources should be considered in a way that if we take something from the nature, we have to regenerate it immediately, and in order not to reduce overall the stock of resources that are on the planet. So from this point of view, the circular economy in a way states that there is a hierarchy in the use of resources that really declare, really stress what are the different options that us as consumers, but also firms may want to follow and need to follow. So traditionally, the waste, the purple line says that the waste management hierarchy There is the opportunity to reduce the material, to work on design, recycling, generate energy, but that at the end there is treatment and disposal. From a circular economy point of view, the goal, even if it's more, a target than actually something which can be practically do as far as the technological development is considered, is to avoid the generation of waste. So from this point of view, the starting point for firms that want to design the product is to start thinking which kind of material have to be used. And the first point is refuse. So we have to consider, as in a company perspective, the fact that the material that want to be used, the inputs, the resources for a product should be kept at minimum level in terms of number, typologies, and so try to use to avoid use some resources, some material if it's not possible. Avoiding plastic, for instance. So from this point of view, the starting point is try to think really carefully about which kind of resources to use. Then there is the reduce part. So try to reduce the quantity of the materials that have to be used. And then there are all the different steps that refers to what we will know as circular business model. So the idea that material can be generate value for customers and for firms, but also for the society and for the environment, because the resources are treated differently. So the attention is on trying to find a way to reuse the product with the same purpose or differently. A box that is a packaging can be used to store, colors for children's. Some materials could be reused in a different level with different purpose. So reuse is something that is becoming relevant. But at the same time, there is also economic opportunity that could be related to repair, so try to maintain the quality of the product, or refurbish or remanufacture, so more industrialized process that increase the life of product. And only when all these steps are covered and are no more possible, then there is the recycling part. And even if and when recycling is no more possible, then the firm may and all the economic system, also with public authorities entering into this system, there could be energy production by waste. So my message is that the circular economy should not be considered simply a way to avoid waste, but should be seen more as an innovation process, because innovation goes in many different directions and tackle all the different steps of this cycle. So circular economy means that we have to pay attention to the resources that we are using. There should be, as I mentioned, bio-based. There should be organic resources that come from the nature that should be recreated, regenerated, and we have to be careful about that. So eco-design is the first and very important starting point for the circular economy, because the designer should think about how the product should be made, but also should be used, or should be recycled, should be, for instance, repair. So eco-design is really a key important step. And also there is also a lot of research. This is why innovation takes place, for instance, concerning new materials, and have to be considered very carefully. We have also the second part, which is more related with the eco-efficiency. So this is more connected with how firms manage manufacturing processes, operations. So eco-efficiency means that the firm should pay attention on the quantity of the resources that could be used, on try to exploit in terms of productivity the resource available. This affects, of course, also cost, and this is connected to innovation in terms of, for instance, developing new technologies to produce the same product. And then we will cover the attention on the new business model in a while, but the idea here is for firms to define new way to create new value, which is not only economic value, but also value for the environment, value for the society, and how firms can capture the value, so can gain in terms of what is produced also from this point of view. This is also interesting in the circular economy. I will see also some example later on the fact that innovation takes place also at the end, not only in terms of recycling, so how, for instance, we can create new paper out of the old one, but more on the fact that the circular economy does not think in terms of industries separately. So if I am in, I don't know, in the fashion, all the inputs are connected with the fashion. If I am more, I don't know, in the car making industry, it's all about, machinery, mechanics, steel, and the like. At the end, if we have to manage resources that are connected with the product that are not more in use, what is called the end of life, then there could be the opportunity for some industry, for some product that generate no more value, to become inputs for other industries. So there's more and more connection between, for instance, the fact that we may use wasted from food and generate a new textile that can be used for, I don't know, for fashion. So the circular economy means also innovation in the way different industries, different supply chain, different also global value chain are connected one with the other. And there is really a lot of creativity also in this part. So when we have to think about these strategies that the firm may want to follow in order to be more competitive, taking into account the opportunities that are related with the environment, we may see three different directions, taking into account that we are talking about the loop, so this cycle. So the first one refers to the attention on an efficient use of resources. So from this point of view, the firm should try to, what is called narrowing the loop, so try to reduce the number of the types, the categories of resources that could be used, but also the attention on, for instance, the quantity of material that could be used. So the idea is on efficiency, try to narrow down what enters into the loop. From this point of view, we may say that, innovation takes place, but in some sense it's consistent with many past approaches to innovation that companies in different industries have already applied. What is really more challenging are, the extension of the product life cycle. So try to, according to the three principles of the circular economy, keep materials, products in use. So from this point of view, the attention is on slowing the loop. So try to reduce the time through which the product that goes from the industry to the consumer side that become waste. So from this point of view, we will focus here on four key activities related to how to extend the product life cycle. That refers to reuse. So try to share the product, could be related with the repair and maintenance, or try to think about how to use differently the product as soon as the first, let's say, goal, the first purpose of the product is no more feasible, we cannot be applied anymore. And the with famous idea, which is closing the loop. So try to recycle and recover eventually through energy creation the resources that could not be that are not adapted to the to this loop. So I'm taking the picture that has been developed by Accenture, that is very clear in depicting in this cycle which are the circular business model that could be applied when I mentioned business model. Again, I mentioned the set of action and procedures through which the firm may generate new value for the customer, but also for the society, and circular because has to do with all the three principles that I mentioned before. So I will focus more precisely on the first 4 out of 5 business model, to try to describe each of them separately and to see which are the options that a firm could use to adopt any of them. So the first one refers to, to the circular suppliers. What is the idea? Sorry, I come back for 1 second. So circular supply chain means that the firm, where they are in the design and sourcing steps of this cycle, have to identify if they want to have their product more sustainable from an environmental point of view, have to find suppliers that are able to provide resources and material that really are actually in line with the circular economy principle. So who are those suppliers? The circular business model says that there could be suppliers or companies that are really focused on create value for their value chain, for their market, but also for the society, because they are committed to produce, to develop, or to regenerate through recycling materials that could be used downstream by other firms, and those materials are in one way or another circular compliant. So there are suppliers that are specialized, for instance, in the development of a renewable raw material that could be bio-based. We can use, I don't know, materials that come from the nature and then are that can be used in a way to create new materials. But there are also suppliers that may refers to they collect I don't know, waste that are not necessarily waste, but are the result of this recycling process and create something which is totally new. So what is called secondary raw materials that could be used by companies in a way to be more sustainable. So if I have a company that I want to create a new, I don't know, pair of shoes, and I'm interested and I find an alternative to plastic, so to synthetic fiber, I may want to scrutinize if there are any suppliers in the market that are able to provide materials that are alternatives, so other options to the traditional synthetic, fossil fuel-based materials. I don't know, made by bamboo, or I don't know, other, natural resources. So from this point, or could be even recycled plastic. So the idea here is that there is a market for these new suppliers that may grow as soon as the request for new materials is growing, and as soon as the circular economy framework becomes, the new framework in which any specific company may behave and develop its own strategy. What is interesting from this circular supplier point of view is that it's important to consider the fact that those materials may come from very different sources, and there is a lot of innovation there because, I don't know, from a chemical point of view, from a technological point of view, not necessarily all the materials are available, or we need to define new technological solutions to exploit those materials properly. But there's also a critical point which refers to the fact that those suppliers have to sometimes create by themselves the supply chain, the supply sources through which to gather all these materials. And I will give you an example in a minute. There is also a problem connected with the fact that those supply option may be very different. So if those materials comes from, recovery and recycling, especially, the recycling, there could be differences in the quantity available, the quality of the materials that may create some problems for the final product. So I don't know, recycled plastic is not the same property in terms of colors as the new one. So also if you are creating new packaging, which is made by recycled plastic, these may have some limitation, for instance, the color that you may use. And also the market for these new materials sometimes is not so huge, but not only because there's a problem in terms of input, so in terms of material that are available, but also because these suppliers may have not clear market, because companies downstreams in the industry are not fully aware about the advantages to be more sustainable, and so they are not asking for different products. So we have two very famous example about supplier, which is recycling paper that has been very widely applied. For instance, in Italy there is very strong recycling system for paper production. So Italy is one of the country which is able to produce paper even if there's no basically forest in our country, but because there is the idea of collecting the paper, transform it into new paper. But there are other interesting opportunities. There are new startups, new companies that, for instance, are treating the waste of coffee. So they are, for instance, collecting, all these waste. That cannot be used, and from these materials opportunely treated, companies, there are different startups that and companies that create new materials, create new material that seems it's plastic but is not, is made by coffee. And so there are new opportunities for then other companies that may use these new coffee from material that is made in order to create some new product. And this is something that is becoming more and more interesting to consider. There is another example which refers to a company which has become worldwide famous. It is based in our region close to University of Padua Vicenza, which is Alisea, that created the Perpetua pencil. Is a pencil that has been created by using the graphite that is basically the output of is a kind of byproduct better of an industrial process. And so this company used this powder to produce by himself a new product, which is this pencil, which is a kind of self-cycling approach. As soon as you write, you reduce the product, which is the pencil, and the pencil then disappear. But then from this experience, Alisea was able to provide this new technique on how to use this graphite that has been a patent, this process that could be used in other processes, for instance, for cosmetics or for in the fashion industry. Another very important case is the one provided by this multinational company, again based in Italy, which is Aquafil, that is in the value chain for carpet production. And Aquafil was very smart in investing in order to develop a new material which has been branded as Econyl, that comes from the gathering, as it's written here in the picture, with the nylon, with the waste rescue, especially by wet, wasted in the oceans. And so from this waste collection of this new material, then this chemical company was able to create a new fiber, a new input that could be then used not only to produce carpet, but also to produce fashion product and the like. There is another business model which refers to the reuse part. Sharing a platform, sharing economy. From this point of view, this is something that has been, also used well before, the circular economy idea is the second-hand market. And the attention here is for firms, but also for intermediaries, to create platforms that could be used in a way to, share product. And so here the attention is on the fact that the product still is in use, but not necessarily by the single user. There could be multiple users over time. There could be multiple uses. And so sharing platform can be seen an option in a circular economy idea. Could be for-profit companies that become, e-commerce intermediaries that help, the demand and the supply, so potential user with a past user to get in touch. But there's attention also for NGOs, no-profit organization that could enter into this process of, product collection that then treat them and provide them to the market, coupling the social and environmental dimension. Here, the attention of the possibility for sharing platform refers to the fact that you may have and you need digital technologies as a way to put them put together. So, digital platforms are, the one that are used in order to let this process of reuse available on a much larger scale than the one that could a single, user, single customer may reaches. And then we move to the second part of this round, this circle, which refers to the extension of product life. This is the challenging part, as I said, because there is the need from a design point of view to identify how to create the product in a way that is become, it lasts longer. And the attention here is on the fact that the value that the product should produce should last, and not necessarily from a single user point of view, but also for goods that are used. And so sometimes customers are more attracted by new product. Innovation may drive the attention of customers that not necessarily consume second-hand product. So this is something that to be carefully managed by firms. From the firm point of view, the attention is on investing in the durability of products. So try to create products that are beyond a specific season. If you are, in the fashion industry, try to produce products that are the opposite of what we have seen at the beginning of this presentation. So instead of thinking from a company point of view of planned obsolescence, the idea is instead to try to let the product last longer. So investing in quality, in good product, which, by the way, is something that didn't occur so frequently, especially at the beginning. And there is also the fact that, sales processes should be think differently, because the extension of product life is connected what I will share in a while, which refers to product as a service. So I'm taking a couple of examples. One refers to what happened. This is a picture that has been produced in a report by Ellen MacArthur Foundation that describes what happened in the fashion industry in the last 20 years or so, with an increased amount of clothing sales, but contrary, the green line, the clothing utilization is decreasing, which means that the system and the industry is producing a lot of clothes, but from a single customer point of view, any specific piece of clothes is used for a very limited amount of time. These generate waste unless some solution could be found, either reducing the quantity in the production or try at the same time to think differently how to increase the product lifetime. So one option, for instance, still for the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, is this project, which is called Jeans Redesign, that try to rethink the way through which jeans, which is an iconic product in the fashion industry, can be designed a way to last longer in terms of the way it is shaped, the material that are used, sometimes not creating, jeans for men and women. So there are in this document specific guidelines that suggest how jeans may not be go out of fashion and could last longer, and try to, for instance, avoid to use some, I don't know, metal components that are characterize this product, that could be done differently. So there is an attention here to innovation. Extending product life cycle, being, for instance, investing in repair. So Patagonia has been one of the companies that since the beginning invest in helping customers to repair by themselves or create these services where Patagonia collect the product that were not more in use and repair them and give it back to the customers. There's been an attention also from a Nike to present and to try to collect and repair the pair of shoes, having in mind that in addition to sell a different product, another product, companies may move in that direction. The most challenging business model, but at the same time the one that has been particularly stressed by supporter of the circular economy framework, is what is called servitization, or product as a service business model. And the idea here is that customers are not necessarily interested in the ownership of the product, but in buying product, or better, in using the product for their performance. So if I want to use a car, the car is a way through which I can move from one place to another, for instance, or I can spend my time. If I'm buying the lamp, it could be just because I need the light. So product as a service is a way, is a business model, is an approach through which firms may provide product, but the attention should be not on the products, on the materials, the tangible dimension of the product per se, and on transferring the ownership. So customers are buying the product, but to provide performances. So try to think exactly what the users want from the product. So from this point of view, there is a change in the attention and a change in the dimension of the ownership. So the firms still are the one that owns the product, and the customer simply lease, rent them, and they use as a service. So they are paying exactly for the amount of time or the quantity of the performance that they're using. And this means that from an environmental point of view, are the firms that are responsible for the end of life of the product. They may invest more on the quality of the product, and customers do not have to manage the end of life, because it's not on their side anymore, but is on the service provider. So if we think about this product service continuum, the idea is that it's not only important what the customers are buying in terms of tangible goods, but on the other side, on the right side, the attention in what are the services, what are the performance, the functionalities that the product may provide. And the tangible dimension is only the artifact through which the product goes into the customer hands. I mean, this is just another way of thinking about that. So putting together the perspective of the producers and the perspective of the service provider, because firms, if they have to adopt a service, a product as a service business model, have to drive their attention in a very different dimension. These are just, you know, another description of what I was mentioning. So there are many examples here because my time is going about to conclude. So is, for instance, the case of Loop, which is in the TerraCycle team that, for instance, provide as the service of providing the packaging. So, for instance, retailers like Tesco may lease these, or you know, other companies may lease the packaging that actually are not on the customer side, but more on the company side. So I pay for the packages as soon as I have, you know, using it, and the final customer simply pays some fees for the use of the packages that have to be bring back to the stores. The example of the Philips is very interesting. They create a case study also within the Ellen MacArthur Foundation website. If you want, you can go more in detail on that. That describe the fact that Philips simply do not invest in circular economy by using recycled material, for instance, recycled plastic for the coffee makers. They have also start to redesign the product, for instance, for some you know, technologies that they're providing in a way to be modular. So modularity may help, for instance, repairing, substituting some broken component with others. But what is very innovative, and Philips wanted to, you know, to develop, is to provide light as a service, so or performance-based healthcare system in which the customers, which is paying not for the bulb but for the light. So the idea is that the firms need to identify an amount of performance, amount, I don't know how many hours of light the customer want, and they are paying only for that specific quantity. There could be flexibility, of course, because it's a service, so pays as a service based on the use, not on the ownership. But from an environmental point of view, it means that it's the company that is investing in order that, you know, the lighting system will work, will last forever, will last longer, and if there is any innovation that takes place, it's on the company side and not on the user side. So all the system is kept in the you know, in the most innovative, let's say, level, and it's on the company side to manage the end of life of all the products. There is another examples that refers, for instance, to furniture. So it's not you know, very standard way of providing a product yet, but is a direction for which company may want to go in a way, you know, to provide and to be more sustainable. The very last one is resource discovery, try to recover what is also behind you know, the production process, for instance. The attention and the message that is connected with the circular economy is to try to reuse as many resources as possible. So it may happen that firms may have many byproducts, waste, materials, scraps, many, you know, materials and resources that are not necessarily considered as valuable resources, but should be instead think differently, approach differently. So from this point of view, the idea is to try to work with collaboration with external partners in order, for instance, to try to exploit more the reuses, the reuse of the resources, identify partners that, as in the case of Alizea, for instance, with this graphite, may be used, maybe find another application of the waste, or try to use to enter into new supply chain in a way that, you know, what is a byproduct can be used by other companies in a more valuable way. So here, just, you know, like expert that, For instance, TerraCycle is becoming a company that built its own business model on recycling and try to bring this new material into a different cycle, also with partnership with many companies, also from the ICO point of view, which is a company that works in the fashion industry with the idea of recollect all the material and give them a second-hand market. But if it's not the case, to try to reuse the material, recycle this material in a way that the waste is not really a waste. To conclude, I would say that from a circular economy point of view, digitalization is important. So all the different business models, but specifically the circular economy one, which refers to product as a service, cannot be done without digitalization. So new technologies from web, big data, cloud, but also robotics, 3D printing, artificial intelligence are all technologies that may help reaching a circular economy from two points of view. One is more on the information side, so collecting and sharing information in order to let all the a component of the players in the value chain on the same page for the same data and knowledge concerning, for instance, use of resources. And the other is, as it's written here, making new business model possible to support, for instance, sharing, to tracking the product and let all the materials be used very differently. So I think I will stop here. And I'm available if there is any question, comment, and of course I will give all the materials available to the attendees.
Thank you very much for this really solid overview of models and systems. So yes, we have a few minutes just for a few quick questions, as our speaker has to leave to another, so use the opportunity. And while people thinking, so just taking aside sustainability aspect, so is it worth to recreate rather than create new?
What I can say is there is a lot of attention. I didn't have the time to distinguish in my presentation between sustainability and circular economy. I would say that circular economy is within the broad concept of sustainability. More and more companies are thinking about environmental sustainability, of course, as a way not to create damage to the environment. The circular economy is a way through which there is a stronger attention on the use of resources, and especially for companies that are working in manufacturing, this is, I would say, easier for them to approach sustainability because they may see also the economic benefit, not only the environmental one, for instance, cost reduction of cost, or I don't know, try to have an improvement in terms of productivity because they're using additional resources. A very, challenging process, but I think that more and more companies start to think about that.
Yeah, so it's really a positive effect. And
exactly.
If there are any negative ones?
Oh, negative. Yeah, good questions. So the negative, I think they are a different level. One is the idea that one of the barrier is related to the perception that they're only cost and not benefit. And the other challenging part is related with the measurement, with the fact that sometimes firms are not really able to capture what are the benefits because they're not only the economic one, they are the environmental, but also the social. So for instance, the attention on what are called the standard ESG, so environmental, social, and governance, more and more, there are more standards and certification that are been developed, and so try to help firms to capture these non-financial impact of their activity. And then the other, I would say the last one, last barrier is that sustainability, but also circular economy cannot be done actually in the proper way alone. So there is strong attention to collaboration. So if firms, they do not know how to collaborate, or there are differences in power, for instance, in the value chain, there's one, I don't know, big company that defines the standards, it may help, but sometimes may create some frictions or some tensions.
Thank you. So for the last question from the audience, if no, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have one question. Please go ahead.
I don't know if there is a chat or
no, it's not in the chat, it's a raised hand. So please, because we have only one hand raised, so we don't hear you. The mic is okay, just okay. The mic is switched off, so
okay.
Yeah. So thank you then very much for a really interesting presentation. It was also very interesting for me, and I hope for the audience. So thanks again.
Thank you.
And we will move to the next part of our program.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. As our second speaker could not manage it today, so we are going already to the third one, which will be actually very good extension for the first one, because it's a practical example how circular economy can be used for the benefit of society. And if you read the title, so it's already talking not about triple or quadruple helix, about which everyone heard, but also about quintuple helix. So I wonder who the fifth stakeholder is in all this cycle. And the floor is for Dr. Inga Matijošytė from Vilnius University, head of Applied Biocatalysis sector. So Inga, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Vida, a lot. Yeah, it's a little bit unscheduled, but yeah, I will try to tell in my presentation what we have in this quintuple helix model, and how was our first attempt, in practice to implicate this model. But first of all, I would like, to a little bit to set the scene. It's about circular and bioeconomy, how it was started. Probably we all already well known that the bioeconomy actually started in 2012 when the first bioeconomy strategy was launched. And basically this strategy was with really very direct focus on I would say technological approaches, really to set and to indicate that the bioeconomy is a part of economy that produces renewable raw materials, and also it was everything about the processes. In 2018, the bioeconomy strategy actually was updated, and within this update, the definition of bioeconomy went a little bit broader out of its scope. And already in this updated strategy, we see that bioeconomy already starts to cover all the sectors and systems that rely on biological resources, like animal, plants, microorganisms, derived biomass, also including organic waste, their functions and principles. So it's really, it went a little bit broader, also like logistic companies. I included, also the companies which provide certain services and so on. So we really see that from 2012 until 2018, the scope of the bioeconomy had and overcome some transformation. but as well in 2022, it was done the bioeconomy progress report. Actually, it was really, there is a nice strategy progress report launched. So I just invite you to look over, and actually 3 main sustainability dimensions were very clearly indicated in this progress report. So it's basically the management of land and biological resources within ecological boundaries. The second dimension was a focus on the sustainable value chains and consumption, and the third one was already also very clearly indicated that social awareness and trust transition within the bioeconomy implementation in our lives. If to look a little bit more deeper how this bioeconomy strategies goes within European Union regions, actually in 2022 as well, the very nice report and survey was done to look over about the importance of bioeconomy and how it's like different countries and different regions have identified bioeconomy in their local, national, policy documents, and also what the status of bioeconomy in the country is. So from this map, we can clearly say that, as Europe we always say, has really very variety in different fields, not only in the culture, but as well within bioeconomy. We see that there is a lot of different approaches. We have really like number of regions with fully dedicated bioeconomy strategies. We have some regions with strategies where bioeconomy is one of the key elements. Also, I would like to highlight that I will take the I don't know if probably you see. To highlight that also Lithuania is in this part, in this category of regions, because in Lithuania so far we don't have a national strategy on bioeconomy, but we have one Klaipėda region on the regional strategy level. They have highlighted bioeconomy and biotechnology as one of the priority areas. And also we have some regions with strategies with really very minimum content. They don't even sometimes use this definition of bioeconomy. They just use biomass, its production, its growth, or it's like its conversion to high added value products. So it's really, we have very different approaches in different countries, but so far in this report, I would like to highlight that 194 regions were overviewed and were analyzed. Also from this report, what is very interesting maybe to highlight as well, the objectives, how they are like underlined in these national strategies or regional strategies as well. So we see that if to look at all the strategies, what was in this survey from 394, and also from fully dedicated regional bioeconomy strategies, the number is 32. We see that the main objective is really focused on managing natural resources sustainability. So this, like national regional strategies, they are really highlighted very clearly that sustainability of the resources and also circularity is very important for them. On the second place, there is like between two other objectives. One, it is like to really reduce the dependence on non-renewable resources, And the third, which more or less is equal and parallel to my just mentioned one, is to strengthen the European competitiveness and also to create more jobs. So so from this also nice, like not only from bioeconomy strategy, but also from this nice reports where like review is done on the national and regional levels in Europe, in European Union, we see that like the managing of natural resources and circularity and sustainability is quite important. And already the Professor Eleonora Di Maria talked a lot and highlighted and discussed this nice theme, which is very often used when we talk about circular economy or circular bioeconomy. But here as well, I would like to highlight for you that probably we, with my topic, what I'm going to talk today, I will be more focusing on this middle part where, you know, this both approaches of economy and of bioeconomy comes, and where some merge and innovation can be done. So this illustrates a little bit more in detail that when we have bioeconomy or circular bioeconomy, we have really very nice middle line, middle part where industrial symbiosis can take part to implement the circularity. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with this definition of industrial symbiosis, but mainly it's a very innovative model, we would say, especially when we talk about the cooperation and between geographically close business entities, which allows one producer's residues to be turned into another producers or companies or farms production resources. So basically what here we're aiming with this industrial symbiosis to go from linear production system to go more for the circular system. And by this, of course, it's like we can gain also and to maximize a lot of benefits like environmental and economical. And as well here, I would like maybe to highlight that this industrial symbiosis can be done not only between two companies which are already existing and they are doing their business, but as well a lot of startups and spin-offs with a new approach with new technologies can be as well initiated and launched. For example, if there is like the company who has waste, but in the region it doesn't have, you know, the company who can use its waste as a resource, there is also possibility to start a new business. And also here, why it is in industrial symbiosis, especially the geographical location as well as is always highlighted, because it's done a lot of calculations, and also it how to say, it also depends a lot on the prices of fuels, that it is calculated that usually like 50-70 kilometers around, it's still worth, you know, to bring some resources. If we have, you know, larger location, then it starts not to be so economically beneficial. And also as well, it's like if you calculate life cycle assessment, sometimes CO2 input can be even higher than it's worth, you know, to produce some products. Here I also would like to share with you some examples. So it's like it's the industrial symbiosis is not how to say, it's not very with an approach is not very new model, but it's not sometimes easy to implement it. The first, like I would say historically, industrial symbiosis model is the industrial park in Denmark, in Kalundborg region, in Kalundborg city. It's not really very big location with a lot of people. It's a city with only around 50,000 population, but historically it was like that in 1980s. It was several companies were built just close to each other, and after that they start to collaborate to each other, you know, by sharing some water, materials, and energies. And in 2000, actually, one of this industrial symbiosis member, actually one of the first companies who was located in this park was Novo Nordisk, and the company invested more than $2.3 billion US, and actually this park started to expand, and this investment also brought more than 2,000 new jobs which were being created, and also new companies they were like with some investment, they were built over there or they were initiated over there. And even with this huge success in 2019, the local port also expanded by 330,000 square meters. So we can see that this park is really was historically just, you know, had the success that it was started over there, and by several companies they found how they can be, you know, cooperate and collaborate, and by that they just expanded in a really nice industrial symbiosis example of so-called industrial park model. Another example is in Sweden. It's the industrial symbiosis in Sotenäs municipality. It's a little bit different approach that we had previously. It's even a smaller, like community municipality. It has only 9,000 population in comparison with Kalundborg. But actually here it's like we can see that we have even broader scope of this industrial model. It's not only the companies, but as well there is like biogas plant and wastewater treatment. There is also some garden centers, but also what we see that the waste coming from the ocean, you know, also is incorporated, and some like waste stream technologies are created for them. So mainly all the municipality in Sotenäs is involved in this industrial symbiosis model, and actually this results also in a new product and business development based on local streams. And in municipality there are 10 employees who are engaged in the development of this symbiosis. So it means that not only like the goodwill of municipalities to have such a symbiosis center is very important, but as well, you know, like some people and capacities has also to be allocated in order to have really well working industrial symbiosis approach and a model. And also I would like just to share very good news that the Lithuanian delegation goes to Sotenäs municipality in September just for a visit, also due to that we are also implementing the project on the industrial symbiosis. So we will see by our eyes also how it works in the reality, everything. Another example of industrial symbiosis center is also with a little bit different approach. It's actually this symbiosis model is located in Finland, and is much around the Kyolala waste center in Lahti region. And here we actually have everything, all the technologies and also waste streams and what high added value products can be done, or also this cooperation between the companies, between the waste recycling plants, facilities, and the companies. I also put the link, so I think like after the this meeting, Vida will share the presentation so you can look a little bit more in deep. So from all these examples and so on, it's like, so what are the most promoting factors for successful industrial symbiosis? Also, it's very important to understand, of course, it's the financial support, because it can, you know, build like on an economical gain, and also interest as well of engagement of the businesses, because it's very important, you know, also for the companies to be involved in this, that they will have some, at least for the initial start, some financial support, and it will be like long term. This also will come with also the basic understanding and also long-term public support from the state and the regional authorities. So everything should be more or less in hand, and not only the companies, not only the municipality, not only the businesses, but also like the state and regional authorities. They have to see and to set the same vision. It's not only talking about industrial symbiosis, but also on bioeconomy or a circular economy in this particular approaches as well. Another very important factor is to really have the comprehensive map of material flows and side stream, both on the local and on the regional level, because if you don't know what you have as a waste and which company has it as a waste and in which region this company is, it's very difficult also just to map and to make this industrial symbiosis. And as well, it's very important, you know, to have certain and proper, I would say, competences and capacities, especially for entrepreneurship, because it's very important that the persons they know, you know, it's like what can be done from one waste stream from the company, and to which another company it can be implemented and can be settled as a resource. And as already I mentioned in my beginning of my talk, it's like locality and also geographic proximity is very also important, because it should be not very far from each other, these companies and this waste stream, in order to boost industrial symbiosis and cooperation between them. I think I have something. Okay. And as well, just shortly to mention it, because usually it comes from the companies, okay, why we should be involved in this industrial symbiosis, and why it should be so important for us. But usually, you know, they when they do this like homework and mapping and also possibility analysis, they really understand that they, by industrial symbiosis, they can really reduce the raw materials and waste disposable costs, because sometimes some companies, they even need to pay for their waste disposable in order to get rid of them. And also some of them, they can really indicate and that there is a possibilities to generate maybe even new revenue from residues and byproducts by making the cycles in their companies. But sometimes it really takes, so much effort by introducing new facility, new production line, and so on. Sometimes it's just easier, to give your waste stream to another company where they can use it as a resource. Also, that they can divert waste from landfill, and also by that to reduce the carbon emission. Probably in the coming years, it will be even more actual for the companies to know, especially this part. Yeah, as already mentioned, open for new business opportunities, and of course to strengthen the environmental profiles of the companies, which is also important. And as well, already settle a little bit about this industrial symbiosis, and coming back to bioeconomy, because it's a relation, it's almost like one bioeconomy and industrial symbiosis. So as the bioeconomy has a very, in parallel intersectorial, international, interdisciplinary nature, because conceptually it really merges a lot of constraints, like, suppliers of biomass, also driving forces such as academia, market organizations, and so on, like also social objectives when we talk about food and nutrition, security, sustainability, and so on, which are very important for our society. Also some things like, as well, very important, like policy strategies and legislations, which also in some manner makes the our economy as a driving force, to make it faster and to make more productive, and to gain economical benefits. So by this, it's like we really already also can directly come to this quintuple helix innovation model, which was created in almost 2017, but mainly it's the model which makes between all the stakeholders, between all the partners which are involved, especially when we're talking about bioeconomy, it makes the to work in hand, to cooperate, and also to boost bioeconomy and circular economy, with our objectives and our needs. So this quintuple helix innovation model as well, we're ready to start thinking about it in 2020, when before that we had Interact project, and this project was indicated for biomass for value initiatives. There we were also working on agro food, some waste streams, and also on agro-food approach. And after almost finishing the project, we somehow, I don't know from whom it came, the idea about industrial symbiosis model approach. And we decided, okay, it's like in Lithuania, we don't have anything yet. With the bioeconomy, in like 3 years ago, we were like already started to talk about it, but not really implementing. So we decided that like we cannot really go on a huge big project with industrial symbiosis, because we understand that we need to start from something small to make, some like a model-based project. And and then with Nordic Council of Ministers, the office in Lithuania, and with the Nordregio, and also with the Vytautas Magnus University Academy of Agriculture, actually we we decided, okay, let's take some like model municipalities in Lithuania who expressed their will to be like a model municipalities where we can try to start from something. And the first idea, you know, was just to introduce industrial symbiosis model to the municipalities, and to try to do some mapping of waste streams, and as well maybe to see, you know, it's like, do we have some possibilities even to start to see if we have some like initiatives within these municipalities, even to start and think, or even to call some initiatives as industrial symbiotic relations. So in our project, as already mentioned, like 4 municipalities took part. They expressed their interest. So it was Marijampolė and Tauragė municipalities, also Panevėžys City and Panevėžys District municipality, but it was led by Panevėžys Development Agency, and also it was Šiaulių Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Craft like agency. And from the business partners, we had Lithuania Bio, where it's the association which has the certain number of members, and they covered, you know, biomass production, fully biomass manufacturing companies, partially biomass-based manufacturing companies, and also other bio-based businesses. And also we had as a partner Lithuanian Agriculture and Advisory Service, which helped us a lot with certain service. So at the beginning, we just visited these municipalities. It was really very interesting visits, because it was like some seminars where we were talking about bioeconomy and also about industrial symbiosis. The participants were mainly, you know, the people from municipality. Also, it was farmers, the people from the companies. So we really had nice discussions, nice insights also from them, which we further find out also in the survey, because the second part of our project was, you know, to implement the survey in these municipalities. And actually the survey was conducted on socio-economical and also some technological aspects. And not only, you know, asking them how much waste, which kind of waste you have, but also it's like, are you collaborating with some other companies? It's like, if you had the possibility to collaborate, if you will collaborate, and so on, mainly around the 30 questions. And this question was filled out last year. The last one was finished in December. And the main focus we did on agro-food waste. At the beginning, we thought maybe we will do a broader aspect, but then we realized that it's really not possible in such a model, small project. And in total, 116 producers, including the companies and farmers, were interviewed, and we obtained their results. And so far we have already some results from the survey, but still we're working on that. And at the end of this year, we hope even maybe to publish the results. But here I would like just to share a little bit out of these results. So in this 4, as already mentioned, like in Panevėžys, we had Panevėžys district and also Panevėžys city municipalities. But from the waste, we had indicated almost, from the surveys, we had indicated almost 22 types of waste, I would say, categories maybe. And we can see that it's like some wastes within, in comparison between these like districts, municipalities, we have the same ones, but also in some of them we just really have very specific only for that particular district or municipality, and we don't have like this waste in another ones. But this really depends a lot on the like landfill, and also on like historical aspects, what kind of industry was developed in this municipality, and so on, and also on a little bit also on the how to say, on the location in Lithuania as well. It's more to the north, more to the south, and so on, and with whom we have the borders, and etc. Maybe shortly I will go over this waste in the next slides, but what we also did, we had identified the possibilities of these waste streams, what can be done. For example, if we take, you know, some, I don't know, like ashes, we find out that from ashes it's possible, you know, to use these ashes as the fertilizers, as the building materials, as the filter media, also as a wastewater. For wastewater treatment can be implemented, like also can be used as a synthesis for zeolites, for removing some pollutants and so on. So for each of these 22 waste stream types, we have identified the possibilities, and also later on we also looked, you know, which companies can use these waste streams as well in this particular municipalities. Yeah, it's like also from this possibilities identification, we made some like mapping. For example, if on horizontal line we see this horizontally we see this waste stream types, as already mentioned: ashes, eggshells, food waste, yeast, paper waste, plastic waste, vegetable waste, and so on. So we also made vertically the possible applications, and we can see that from some wastes, even several applications can be implemented if it's if there is a possibility in one or another municipality. So here just like short example. For example, if we have agri-food waste, it can be composted, and further this compost can be used for the as a fertilizer, you know, for the plants. So we also indicated like the number of companies which are producing fertilizers or manufacturing fertilizers, and which the companies which can use as compost as or like even earlier, you know, they can use this agro-vegetable waste, you know, as their resources. So, for example, in Telšiai municipality, we indicated 2 companies. In Tauragė municipality, we indicated 3 companies. In Panevėžys city and district municipalities, we indicated 12, and in Marijampolė. So by this way, we try to map those. We have quite a number of observations from the surveys. They are not finalized yet, but actually there is very interesting, maybe my observation, because I am from applied sciences, that what amazed me, like especially from the farmers, the main waste is plastics and their counterparts and their materials. So this we were really not expected. We expected maybe, you know, some like agro waste and so on, but now also we're trying to settle up some business model also for the farmers, what to do with the plastic waste, because it's really looks like they have a really problem what to do, because not all the plastic plastic waste what they have can be recyclable in the manner how it is done now in Lithuania. Also, some, just I will mention maybe some of them. It's sometimes optimization of the raw materials and energy resources is only partially important for some respondents, because if it's not implemented and it's not coming, for them by some policies, requirements from municipalities, from other agencies, usually they don't care if it doesn't, how to say, implement in their business. But if in the future they foresee that some fees or some other things will come, some of the respondents indicated that for them it would be very important, to also think about the waste and how to recycle it and what to do with it. And also, if to compare the companies and the respondents who are involved in the crop and livestock farming, in food and beverages interested, they are much more also keen, to be involved in both, like internal resource efficiency improvement activities, and also to participate in the industrial symbiosis in comparison with some farmers. So, and maybe on that I will stop my presentation, because it's like already mentioned, we will really still working on that, but we will come up with some of our findings and main indications, at least from Lithuania, this industrial symbiosis, small model mapping, and in our manuscript what we are preparing now. And but if you want to a little bit to look a little bit more deeper into the project, and also how we create these symbiotic relations, you can look in our website of this project. We have the story map, which is prepared together with the North region. So you can look more deeper. And this is just to finalize, because usually when we talk about like circularity or we indicate it to circular bioeconomy or to economy, but as well, I think we always can implement and to think a little bit more in advance also about industrial symbiosis model, to how to implement it, and maybe it is worth to use, not only to close the circles, within one company, but maybe we can make this like cooperation and collaboration and model really working, especially in the regional and on municipality level. So thanks for your attention. I hope it was a bit longer, but
thank you, Inga, very much. So my colleague has put the link to our questionnaire on the chat, so those who can please answer it. And if you have questions, use the opportunity to ask what was wrong, what was okay, what was easy, what's not so much, maybe other questions.
yeah.
So
now I hear
what
you better.
were the main challenges implementing the project? Okay.
The main challenge was to fill the survey, but not, because it's like usually, at least in Lithuania, what we have, I don't know how it would be in other countries, but in Lithuania we have a very negative, it's not like aspect, but very negative like color, I would say, for the wet waste.
it's like in English, it sounds very okay, waste stream, you know, it's like production stream. But when we say it's like in Lithuanian language, we say atlieka, it has very negative aspect. And usually, especially like the farmers, the companies, when you ask, do you have certain waste? It's like this, no, no, no. But when you start to talk and when you start to ask, you know, more in deeply, apparently they use, or sometimes they are giving to another companies, but they are probably due to our some policies, you know, and so on, regulations. This negative aspect is really, so it's like we're also trying, you know, to educate a little bit them. But it was really very interesting, especially this meeting and this tours to the municipalities, because when we sit, you know, in academia or it's like in our offices, we think in one, but when you go in real life to talk with them and what they think, what the problems they have, it's nice experience.
We have one question in the chat. So you spoke about the difficulty faced by farmers, which was the problem of plastic waste. Where was the plastic waste from?
Usually it's like this plastic waste is like from plastic bags. Usually these bags they are using for when they are bringing, you know, some fertilizers, also fertilizers containers, like these bottles as well. Then they have this special plastic from where they with straw, where they also like some kind, you know, it's like fill in this plastic just to keep, you know, for the winter time for the cattle and so on to feed later on. So they really also with like from fertilizers, chemical ones, because for example, if chemicals were kept in these bottles, in the plastic containers, usually, at least in Lithuania, you need to pay for like landfill if you know, it's like if you want to bring there. And really the costs are quite high. I don't know how in other countries, so we're also searching for some examples how it's in other countries I implemented these ones, but yeah, so we some kind of struggling with that. It's like.
Any other questions? Yes, just a second. The solution will be to look for a more sustainable means to transport it. Yeah, it's a comment already, how to transport everything. So it's also an idea for the business actually, already.
Yeah, it's for new business. I know in England they have quite nice model, but it's like, I don't know, it's like they also do it regionally, you know, they have some companies where they collect all plastic, doesn't matter it is contaminated with chemicals or not, and they clean it, wash it and recycle, but it's not all over UK, it's really regionally. In Lithuania, it's also a little bit problematic that it's like, how to say, our population is not so big. And then it's like when you calculate the revenue and so on from this business, what will be the profits, it's also sometimes not economically feasible.
Other questions? 1, 2, 3. Well, it seems everything. So thank you very much for our speakers. Thank you for the audience for participation. And if you participate in the meeting next week, so we'll see you next week. And for others, have a nice summer. Bye-bye.